turns his mic off whenever he
Oh, Wayne is
adjusts
saying
his
if I end up
pants.
talking, can I do a mic test first?
No. Like, oh, you want to do it right now? I mean, we're live, so like, sure.
He asked that a minute
Come
ago.
on, here, come on in and say something. You were saying something a moment ago. Here, say something real quick. We just cut this part out.
I just wanted to check to see if this microphone was better.
That sounds way better.
Okay.
It's good.
And the view is different.
Camera
one, camera two.
Oh my goodness.
All right, putting you in the back. I don't know what D's doing. He's like, all right, let's start the show, and then he turns his thing off. They're probably playing with the dog.
You know, actually, surprisingly.
All right, guys.
Hello?
Live.
What is this?
Live.
Are we doing the commercial thing? The intro?
I don't know, Alicia.
I thought that was the intro.
Oh, okay.
Do we know what we're doing?
Alicia, she's producing. We just show up and say things.
Yeah.
It's a Bitcoin podcast. The only one that's making your money is you. Listen to the Bitcoin podcast. So hold on and listen to the Bitcoin podcast. Listen to the Bitcoin. Hold on and listen to the Bitcoin podcast. And you listen to the Bitcoin podcast. And you listen to the
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Dude, should we get a new intro music, or should we just stick with that one for
I like
longer?
that one.
I think we should stick with that one for as long as we possibly can.
Forever.
What if we got Gibbs to do it again?
And say the words so that they're easier to understand.
We could do something different, like maybe like a slightly different, like a remix, a variation of it. Same words,
like a trap version.
Yes. I don't know. Let Gibbs do whatever he wants.
I'd like a trap version. Can we get it screwed and chop?
I don't think Gibbs can do that.
Fabulous.
We definitely have more icons for this week.
So welcome to the Bitcoin podcast, guys. This is episode 344. I am the host that talks first, D.
I am the host that talks second, Dr. Corey Petty.
And I'm the third host, Jessie Broke.
Yes,
Jessie, the man broke.
This show is brought to you by is what you do.
That's good.
Sniping with the questions, just sniping them. Yeah, what was that sniper's name in Saving Private Ryan? The guy who was like, though I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, boom, Nazi number one. I took a look at my life and realized there's nothing left. Boom, Nazi number two. Because I
don't think they were doing that on Saving Private Ryan, were they?
Yeah, they were. That was Saving Private Ryan.
I might have to go back.
I have to watch that. Yeah, I don't remember that song was playing.
I don't know if you're fucking with me
I think he's fucking with us.
That was Saving Private Ryan.
That's like 99%.
No,
99. I'm almost 100% sure that you're fucking with us.
That was definitely Saving Private Ryan, and that was the scene where they actually saved Private Ryan when the Nazis came in and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna kill you guys because you're definitely American," and we were like, "No, the fuck you're not, bro." And that was the scene. I wrote it. So moving on.
Oh, Jack Snyder. Jack Snyder?
What about Jack Snyder?
That was the guy.
Yeah, do you guys want to talk about the Justice League film?
Oh, you're talking about Zack Snyder. And
Zack Snyder. That was
last week.
Where is the train icon? This is going way too far. We haven't even gotten started yet.
All right, fine.
We haven't even started.
What is that?
That's off the rails. We started off the rails. Let's get back to what's actually supposed to be happening. So here's the deal, right? Crypto's evolved to the point now. If you've been in this space for a long time, then you probably know that airdrops are a thing, right? Private Jackson was the sniper's name. Thank you, Alicia. So airdrops are a thing. What's an airdrop? If you just got into this crypto thing, you just sparked up a Coinbase wallet, sparked it up. Don't know what the hell's.
Coinbase.
Yeah. It's got
I just got my Coinbase.
I got my Coinbase wallet, and you sparked it up. You don't know what's going on. Somebody said, "Hey, slide on over to Gemini," and you're like, "Isn't that a constellation?" Sorry, Coinbase over there. We should put like a QR code to our Coinbase. You know what I'm saying? Like,
100%.
hell yeah, that'd be dope. Hey, scan that and start your Coinbase account.
I'll make that happen by next week.
Hell yeah. Is that next week the Bitcoin podcast time or next week actual calendar time? Because next
Bitcoin
week
podcast time.
All right, we'll see y'all in 2023 with that QR code, baby. 2023.
Just have QR codes of all our referrals so we can start making that money because we don't do that.
So, you're probably not familiar with what an airdrop is and why it can exist and how cool it is and how the cryptocurrency community, just a second, dog, stop doing that. How the crypto community can leverage airdrops in order to embolden, galvanize, and amplify communities, different micro communities efforts, right? There's different communities in crypto. There's a token, there's a community behind it, more than likely, right? What is it, like a 50-50 shot?
There's no more than likely. It's 100%. That's the whole goal.
No, it's not 100% because
okay. Then here's the question: how's it get value?
Well, hold on. Let's not get that deep into it, doctor. Let's just keep it on the surface level.
There's your answer.
Let's just keep it on the surface level.
That's not a deep question.
Yes, it is, because there's 8,500 tokens just on CoinMarketCap. Those are the ones just on CoinMarketCap.
All right. All those
have communities.
Then let's put it this way: any token with a value has a community.
All right,
Done.
that's better. I like that. I can vibe with that. So all these tokens that have actual value have communities, right? And a way to galvanize, amplify, rally your community is through an airdrop. So Jesse, why don't you go ahead and define an airdrop for us?
It's when you get free money into your address.
Hell yeah. Free money just dropped into your wallet. And you're like, what? Money just came into my wallet from out of thin air. Just it's there now. It wasn't, and now it is. All right, Corey, what's your definition of an airdrop?
It's a way for a project to distribute tokens to their community or to potential users, like people that they would like to be a part of their community, very efficiently. So, as an example, Wayne in the private chat has asked us to dial it back and change the difference between a token and a coin. A coin, in my opinion, is a token. I mean, we were talking about digitally. It's just a token that has a bunch of different copies of itself. So token is just like a digital scarcity in the most general sense, in my opinion. A coin is a token that has a bunch of different copies of it. You can exchange for the exact same thing. An FT is a token that you can't do that. It's unique. Mm-hmm. So an airdrop is when, say I have a project, right? And I want to bootstrap my community. I want to try and get, and I've made a coin. I've made, we'll just say 1 million tokens, 1 million coins. We're going to call it Bitcoin Corey's Vision for now, because that seems to be a meme in the Slack for now. Bitcoin Corey's Vision, BCV. That's the token of the community that I'm trying to make. And I want to get it in the hands of as many people as I can. So what do? I take a snapshot of the blockchain, any blockchain. It doesn't have to be the one that I'm on, potentially. Wherever the token is where it's going to go. And I say, based on some metric of the blockchain, right? Nice. Well played. Based on some metric that I arbitrarily define, whether it be all accounts at this particular block in time that exist, it could be all accounts that have interacted with this specific smart contract at this specific time, or all accounts that have a balance over of another token that throughout this time period, whatever, right? Like you can come up with any arbitrary metric you want. You just take a snapshot of those blocks, and you now have a list of addresses. The airdrop is I just give my token to those people. I deposit it. I put it directly in their account. I transfer it into their account, and then I tell them. I broadcast out. I say, "Hey, check your account. You now have a new token." Or you can do it in a couple different ways, where you force the person to go and register and prove they have ownership of this account, and then you give it to them.
You can
So
also go ahead.
Yeah, and so that kind of helps with in the off chance that I distribute to an account that's dead, those tokens are gone. So you can maximize the efficiency to make sure that people who claim the token are actually going to use it. They want it, but then that costs money. It's an extra couple steps, whatever. There's all different ways to do this. But in essence, you're right. It's free money. Well, assuming what I'm passing out has value or has a potential to have value. Now, what's interesting about this is that I've bootstrapped my community. People who don't want it can claim it and sell it. That's volume on my token. People who do want it already have it. And if you take a chance of what Uniswap did, Uniswap is a good example of this. It's the first time, not the first time, but one of the major examples of a company saying, based on all of the use that we've had, and that has grown to our success, we're going to introduce a token and we're going to give it to the people who have used our platform. That's like a company, it's like a traditional company going an IPO, and instead of selling shares, they just give it to the people who've used the software or used the services of that company. And then, so people who've used it just end up with a bunch of money, well, potentially, in their account. In terms of Uniswap, I don't know what that's worth now. Let's look. What I got in Uniswap, I think, is around, I got a tab here with all my monies in it. What I got on Uniswap is currently evaluated at,
It's like 300, right? 300 Uniswap, 300 Uni.
So currently, I got 488 Uni for my particular activity on Uniswap, and that's valued at like $14,000 currently, around there, right? Yeah,
Damn.
OPSEC, I get it, but that's what everyone got. It's clear I use Uniswap. It's clear that I would get that.
So this is a beautiful, beautiful principle that I want to talk about airdrops and how powerful they can be, for society. First, I do want to explain the difference between token from South Park and a token. No, Wayne is watching, and he was like, "Now explain the difference between token and a token." But basically, at the end of the day, you're trying to incentivize a large group of people or a large enough group of people to participate in your network. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yes.
No, you're right.
Boom.
Like I said before we started this, the only reason tokens have value is because they have communities. So people are trying to bootstrap their communities and get their tokens in the hands of these things, because as we've seen in the history of blockchain, bags have weight. And people tend to defend the things that they've invested in. I mean, more often than not, we tell people how do I get started? I don't know. Buy some and try it out. Well, in some cases, you don't even have to buy it. You just get it.
And there's all kinds of parameters that you can set up that would trigger the issuance of an airdrop, right? And that's kind of the beauty of the gamification of finance. And that's what we're seeing right now in crypto is the gamification of finance. And if anything is going to be gamified, it has to be relatively simple. It has to be built upon simple principles. And this kind of goes all the way back to these primitives that we've discussed on our show many, many times before, like crypto primitives and financial primitives. It's got to be built on simple rules in order for you to gamify something, right? The best games are simple. Fucking tag, very simple game, very fun. I can't play it anymore. I'm old, but kids love it. Very simple game, right? Have a great time. So if you're gamifying finance, you can do anything. You could say all ETH wallets with a certain level of ETH in them, if they have 15 or more ETH, get this super duper rare token, which gives me super duper powers on the DeFi network. Cool. Of course you replace super duper with actual shit, right? Does actually do something that returns value to the community. But it doesn't matter how you set these parameters. And now you can hopefully audience members starting to see like the sky is literally the limit. I mean, how many airdrops have you think you've received, Jesse?
More than what I even see. More than what I've actually claimed.
Because what I said earlier was like you gotta broadcast out. You gotta let people know that it's there. Like I've looked at all of the things that have just showed up in my account. Like say if you go to like Etherscan, right? That was the best way to see. Like the first time I said it, where I just deposited directly in someone's account based on some metric. A lot of the earlier projects, like wouldn't even call them ICOs, just projects that had a token, just airdropped a lot of what they did. Live Peer was one of those examples, or a percentage of their distribution. And like what I would do is I'd get on Etherscan and then I'd look at my accounts because that's how I used to watch them. And the tokens, there's just be new tokens in there. I'd be like, where do these come from? What is this? What is this? Is this worth anything? What is this project? Whatever. And interestingly enough, for some of those things, I actually looked into the project, and I never would have had those things hadn't just showed up in my account.
Yeah, Wayne's right. You had to add custom in order to see it in some cases for some airdrops.
Yeah, because you're relying on the platform to look for those things and find them. PSV. What is PSV?
PlayStation Vita.
Something. So I think it's supposed to be
Bitcoin's
I don't know.
Corey's vision.
Yeah, petty.
That's
BSV.
That's actually
You can do PSV.
PlayStation Vita.
What are we gonna do?
No, Petty Satoshi's vision.
Satoshi Vision. Yeah.
Petty
Satoshi's vision.
Petty Corey vision.
PCV. Yeah, maybe we should come up with a good acronym for whatever token that we just pick a meme token. It's not that hard. We can make one, pass it out. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I made Fruit token, but it didn't matter because it was on testnet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not doing testnet. That's straight live.
I do have one Fruit token.
You do?
Petty Satoshi Vision.
Ah, I see. Petty, if you were Satoshi and you didn't tell me, I swear to God.
If I was Satoshi, you think I just did on that much money?
No.
I don't think I'd have a mortgage.
I don't think you would. I'm pretty sure you would let's be realistic. I'm pretty sure you'd be like, hey, can I buy Thailand? Is that possible? Can I just buy straight cash?
I'm a fan of the Thai people. I think I'm going to buy Thailand.
Yeah. Where are you getting these avocados from? I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy that land.
Haas. What is this?
Okay, so that's the principle of an airdrop. I like where I like the principle of an airdrop is now that we've started to we've received these glimmers of hope that there can be a world in which blockchain and the GPP legal structure can coexist and they can communicate and leverage one another. Now you can start the next logical step, maybe 5 years from now, is governments issuing tokens, governments building tokens. Why not? It's open source. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They can issue tokens.
Stimulus check.
Yeah, like stimulus trip. You can get some stimmy tokens dropped straight up in your
GBI, stimulus, all kinds of like efficient ways of distributing money. Yeah. And when you're the Fed, you just print it yourself, then it's great.
Imagine a world where you could absolutely validate your contribution to the communal coffers. Like, oh, there's a water system token or an electric grid token, and it shows that it's ETH went from your wallet to those wallets to help the community have the funds it needed to operate. So in turn, you just get airdropped that stimmy money, baby. It just gets sprinkled into your ETH wallets wherever they are. Like, the world can be juicy if we make it that way. And I think crypto is gonna get fucking really cool here in the next decade, just because, you can like sprinkle some life on somebody. Just look in your ETH wallet and a little stimmy got sprinkled in there. I mean, I know that would be nice. Yeah. Corey likes to talk on mute. So
Thank you for that. The big icon didn't give it away from me. Either one of the big icons. So if we could make the assumption that digital currencies are going to be a thing for governments,
Yeah,
right?
they are. They are.
Okay, we make that assumption. Then this is the most efficient distribution method that exists.
Yeah. Imagine
Because you just put it directly on people. Like people already put things directly on people's accounts, but the infrastructure that routes that money is so convoluted and owned by various people that it's not efficient. It's not easy to do. And this is like when you have like basically a universal database for people's accounts, and people who get accounts on this particular universal database, I'm thinking of like a Fed coin, right, are residents of that jurisdiction. All the KYC, AML stuff required to define the metric of who gets what, whether it be welfare, UBI, stimulus checks, whatever you want to do to disperse money to people as a government. It's a snap of the button, snap of the finger. We're done.
Jeez.
So it will happen. That's the thing. Like, okay, if the assumption that governments will move to digital currencies eventually, and the Fed has a Fed coin of some sort, then this is going to be the method in which those things get distributed.
So this is a comment said from Backstage, which, by the way, soon you'll be able to purchase Backstage passes, so you can come sit backstage and get your comments live on there. But what Wayne said is in a previous, and that will be an NFT. Why? Because we do that crypto shit. It's going to be amazing. But anyways, so yes to crypto. Wayne says, in a previous roundtable, we discussed the Fed coin being an airdrop against current crypto, and you get discount on your taxes if you paid in Fed coin, and you implement UBI or universal basic income, and a few other incentives that would incentivize people to hold and use Fed coin. Right? We're talking about community. The USD happens to be the very macro currency of my macro community of the United States, right? So if I were incentivized to use the USD, which I am now through things like going to jail forever, like this, like you could do all kinds of nifty stuff. And so, yeah, that's what airdrops are. I think last time I scanned an Etherscan, I had 38 cryptocurrencies. And I was like, what the fuck is all this shit? Some of it's useless, but some of it's not. And most of
it is useless. Like those ones that just got direct deposited during that phase of like, oh, we can do this, are useless.
Yeah. And it's just sometimes crypto is wild to wrap your mind around how awesome it can be. I think the things, Jesse, I don't want to speak out of pocket for you, but I think the things that piss you off about crypto are the scammy bullshit that seems to be unstoppable and much larger number than the actual earnest good stuff.
No, I just don't think enough thought is put into what's coming. Everybody just sees the money right now, but you guys aren't seeing what can potentially be developed that can, like what Wayne also wrote about, how China has essentially like a credit score based on if your actions are in line with the agenda of the government, right? And so I don't think we're paying attention to things that could potentially happen in the future by way of having these secondary reinforcers sculpt our behavior or shape it. And so, yeah, you can see like, yeah, cool, like money airdrop, but like in the future, this might be used to control us rather than, free money.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's 100% also like devastatingly efficient surveillance technology.
Yeah. You're muted too.
D likes to talk on mute.
Ooh.
Right back at you.
I was borrowing a page out of your book, homie. You showed me the way. No, I think you're right, Jesse. But as I stare off into my window and look like I'm deep in thought,
He's pointing.
Governments. What? What'd you say?
Wait.
Is this a bidet thought? It's a bidet. That's so perfect, Alicia. I love it. As I stare and have this bidet thought, but not actually rinsing my balls. governments have controls and they have levers over their populace, and that's just the way it's going to be. And in fact, we like those levers, or we wouldn't continuously live underneath them. So that's
No,
just going to
I
be
think there's a
what
different
it's going
degree
to
of
be.
it though. Like we haven't seen exactly what China will do. Like they're gonna go ham with it. You know what I mean?
Ham.
Yeah,
Like
they're gonna
ham.
show up with 2 chains on, like, we got your life, bitch. We got your life in our
I mean,
hands.
like you've seen what's happening with the Uyghurs, right, in China and the southwest China. Is that
Excuse me, the what?
The Uyghurs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Uyghurs. That's how
Oh
you
my
say
God.
that.
Yes, that is how you pronounce it.
I've been saying
Yeah,
that wrong for a while.
How do you say it?
Just, I think YouTube will flag us if we say bad shit now. So we can't say, "Oh, I just said shit." Yeah.
Or
This is
you've
marked
already
explicit.
cursed a few times, so
Yeah, this
we're
is
doing
marked-
all right.
Yeah, it's marked explicit, so we're okay. What was I gonna say? Sorry, I lost my whole train of thought. I lost it all.
Maybe you were going to defend short-term gains and not thinking about long-term shaping behaviors that they're essentially testing out. Like these are tests, right? Like don't get me wrong, like we're all benefiting from free airdrop money, but like these are all like case studies essentially.
Oh
right?
yeah, experimentation.
Yeah.
But like
100%.
it's experimentation with real value. That's the thing. Like,
I mean, like yeah.
it's making significant difference in people's lives, and in some cases, making some people rich, and very very much changing a distribution of wealth in society. So like, sure, it's an
How long?
experiment, but it's like an impactful one.
Negro Damas has a question for you, Dr. Petty.
Yo.
How could this specifically benefit your prior community of science?
What do you mean? How
Answer
could
the question,
airdrops?
bro.
How could airdrops benefit science?
Yeah.
Well, if we look at like, it's not necessarily an airdrop, but it's an interesting example or analogy, right? Zcash as a project has a portion. I'll get back to this. I'll keep talking.
Okay,
It
so
wasn't that bad. Like it didn't sound like dogs.
yeah, he has this cool ass tech where it's noise reduction, but it makes them
Sorry,
sound
guys,
like
sorry.
a scary movie noise.
What do they sound like? Give me an example.
Not like
Um,
dogs. Like maybe some
It just sounds like a noise
Tapping?
you hear right
Scratching?
before a monster were going to destroy you.
So it's like muted, like a heavily muted,
Like I can't explain it, but I don't like it.
they're going crazy right now.
I can't hear them.
Yeah, I
They
can't hear.
stopped. They're still going crazy. Yeah. That's absurd that y'all can't hear that. Anyway, okay, cool.
Hey, yeah, this show's brought to you by RTX video cards. Get yourself an RTX 3070. What is
No. We'll do that, and we can get like an affiliation of some sort, get a kickback. Because those are hard to get, and I want that money. I want one first. I'm using a 2080, and I want something better.
So if
Anyway.
Negro Damas could get the floor again. I think
Let me
just-
finish.
Oh, my
Let me
bad.
finish.
Go for it.
Yeah, so Zcash is a really good example or analogy, not necessarily an airdrop, of part of the distribution of funds. So when they mint tokens in every block, because it's modeled not for Bitcoin, but with zero knowledge proofs, a portion of all new funds go to a developer fund, which then funds the research of zero knowledge proofs and Zcash Foundation and all that stuff, right? Like, the Zcash project is, in essence, a way to fund science of applied cryptography in a very real way. And I think up until projects like that, it was very, very difficult for scientists to get funding to work directly on this. And the process of grant writing, the process of tenureship, the process of a lot of the ways of being a scientist in the traditional science world is very time consuming and difficult and not conducive to actually doing science. And I think when you have these kind of direct incentives to make it applicable and useful for people, like Zcash, in my opinion, then it really like aligns the incentives of pushing a certain type of technology forward very quickly by paying the people who do it best very well. And they're incentivized to do it because when they make it more applicable, it's more useful to people, and ostensibly the value of that token goes up. So airdrops, something like if you think about it in terms of like interesting ways to distribute a token to a community, then you can start to think about like how do we distribute value to the people we think are going to be valuable to this community. And if it's about science, then it's getting value to the people who can build it as much as well and as fast as possible, and enabling them to just do science and not worry about all the other crap.
Here's a question for the GPPs. Can you do airdrops on different types of tokens?
Yeah. What do you mean?
There we go. I was gonna say, like, can you do airdrops on Avalanche? Can you do airdrops on Cosmos? Can you do airdrops on?
Yeah, that gets more difficult though, because what that does is it puts. Now this is going to be, in my opinion, it's more difficult, but it's going to happen, right? So like, but it's way more complex because then you have to worry about what the total supply is. Okay, back up a second. The reason why people find value in something like Bitcoin is because you're very, very, very confident that the total supply or total circulation can't be manipulated. It can't change arbitrarily. No one can just print more Bitcoin. It's printed by math and the way in which blocks are introduced, right? And we know what the cap is, 21 million.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's where the value is. People understand how much Bitcoin they have and how much it's always going to be relative to the total amount. Whereas like if you have an inflationary currency, the static amount that you have changes in value because you're not sure about the total amount. And when you start doing things like putting a coin on multiple different networks, whether it be like Avalanche, Ethereum, any of the layer 2s, stuff like that, Algorand, whatever, and you distribute a specific digital asset across all of these things, you're making it more complicated and easier to screw up in terms of keeping track of that total supply. So like understanding issuance and distribution becomes a much, much more complicated thing. You can't take a snapshot of a single blockchain and understand who has what. You need to take multiple snapshots at the right time and do some kind of logic to figure it out and hope that these things work well. And when you think about how these things move from chain to chain, it becomes even more difficult because you have to understand that some of the tokens in a specific smart contract are considered locked up and they can't be counted in total supply. So there's a lot of like weird edge cases and side cases around what this is. You can't do it. It's just going to be more complicated.
So you said something that the circulation limits were fixed. What's going on in Dogecoin and a few other tokens that are essentially forks of Bitcoin where they raise the circulation limit? How are they doing that?
It's a parameter in the beginning, and then if they wanted to change it later, it's just a hard fork.
So why on CoinMarketCap does like say Dogecoin, I think say like they can have 900 billion. Why do they have like 988 billion in circulation?
Because that's a parameter change they made in the beginning. So like they just decided they wanted a larger number and a shorter block time.
But don't they have to change like a majority of the people running what I don't is it like their nodes? It's the same thing as Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. Well, so I think like in Doge's case, I'm not sure of any hard forks that changed issuance.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know that. Why do they have a higher circulation?
Because that was a parameter in the very beginning. They always had more. Like they changed the issuance to be something different than 21 million and how it gets distributed over time when they had launched the blockchain. The very beginning when they forked it, they changed the code, they changed the parameters around these things, like how long a block is, what the issuance is over time, so on and so forth. So that's where we are now. I'm not aware of any hard forks, which is the way you have to do that parameter change once the blockchain has started, ever happening in Dogecoin, but it could have. I never really watched it. Like it's always been a meme coin. So
Let me report. So max total supply. Okay, so they changed it on CoinMarketCap because it used to be, I think, 100 billion Doge, and right now the circulation supply is at 128.9 billion. So somehow, without forking, they've removed the upper limit. They've removed the circulation limit, the max supply.
How do you know they haven't forked? I just don't know they haven't.
I don't know that they haven't forked that, and I also don't know if CoinMarketCap is reporting this incorrectly. I'm just curious.
That's also very likely because if you look across multiple different
They do. They have a lot of
statistical
reporting issues.
sites, it's all wrong. Like, they're not. There's discrepancies, and so you'd have to to really know. You'd have to make sure they haven't forked and changed the code base because it'd be easy to do for Dogecoin because it's relatively small hash rate, at least in its history. And yeah, I don't know.
There's really no way, though,
add it
right?
up.
You have to change all the nodes or fork in order to get that supply cap to be removed, right?
Well, you got to fork and then convince people to run that fork.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, for it to be reported on CoinMarketCap without a fixed max supply,
I don't know.
and
I
that
don't know what they're
changed.
doing.
Exactly.
I don't know what they're doing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know it either. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot of weird stuff. That's why it's so weird to see people push Doge. Like people like Elon, they don't understand these things. Like these weird subtle intricacies and edge cases of total supply and issuance. They're just like, it's a currency, use it. It's just like Bitcoin.
Yeah. But the same thing happens, Corey, that we've seen this now. I think this will be the fourth time we've seen this, is that each one of these cycles that brings in new people, strictly because we know that those new people are like, oh my God, I can make a bunch of money. I can make a lot of money. I like money. We know that only about 1 to 3%.
I don't know what that is.
That's the scammer. That's a whole thing. It's very funny, but thank you, Alicia. That's hilarious. That's a very funny guy, by the way, on Instagram. Sorry. So anyway, is it Joan the scammer? Anyways, we know that. Hold on, let me read this comment from Yes to Crypto. He's saying CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, etc. are often behind in several types of tokens, market cap, total supply, especially primarily Uniswap type tokens and rebasing tokens too. So that might answer what we were doing there. So, or that which y'all were going back and forth on. Yeah, they're just behind, right? Are you seeing that?
Yeah,
I'm in the Matrix, bro.
What are you doing? Oh, yeah, you have clipping because your video card sucks.
Whatever, bro. I'm in the Matrix. All right. So, anyways, what was I gonna say? So not to switch up the vibe too much, talking about airdrops and things, but this is just an assumption I have, and Corey, you probably could correct me if I'm wrong. But in November, the big announcement this week that probably went very far under GPP's radars was that the Taproot is going to be going live in November on Bitcoin, which wouldn't that mean you could do airdrops and stuff on Bitcoin?
You could do airdrops.
If there were a certain amount of
Bitcoin?
Bitcoin?
So Bitcoin is not what's considered an account model. It's a UTXO model. It's more difficult to just put things in someone's account, especially because they mostly do single use addresses for a lot of their a lot of the wallet software does single use address, so they cycle through an address every time they do a transaction. So it's put this way, it's more complicated. It can be done. I'm not sure how you would do it on Taproot because of the complexity of UTXO versus account model. It's way easier in account model blockchains like Ethereum because everyone has one account. You have one account, and it's easy to it's reused all the time.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's the same thing. You can do people said you can do smart contract in Bitcoin. Yeah, it's incredibly inefficient, and no one's ever going to do them. Turing complete smart contracts. Taproot gives you drastically more general extensibility on the types of smart contracts you can do on Bitcoin. I'm curious to see what gets built there. What you're gonna see is really interesting multi-sigs day one, I think. So way better multi-signature wallets and community holding scripts that allow you to do like really, really interesting things about groups of people holding and accessing pools of money. So I'm curious to see. I'm excited to see what happens there.
We should probably cut to the interview.
Yeah.
You want to do that? You guys want to do that?
There's one more question in the chat. I'd like to
The
read,
private chat
so-
or the comment?
StreamYard chat. So Daniel says, Andy Meows from Slack asks, isn't there a Flare network that's supposed to be airdropping across a bunch of blockchains?
I don't know. We'd have to, I don't know, get him on the show, Alicia.
Yeah, so
Wait, so
We
that
don't
would
know
mean
now.
that would turn an airdrop into, that would mean that the airdrop is just getting inputs in, like, and treating different blockchains as
there aren't
arrays.
bridges for all of those.
Yeah, as long as it's
That's-
bridged, you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like they're still going to have a lot of that complexity that I talked about. I think what Flare is trying to do, if I'm just guessing, is they're trying to absorb as much of that complexity as possible. So like you basically are using them to not worry about all that complexity and hope that they do a good job.
Sexy, baby. This shit is getting so sexy. It is. I'm liking it. I'm getting a little nipply, if you know what I'm saying. Or fabulous. I guess. Yes.
Let's move it over to
Cocoa
the
Puff.
interview.
Yeah, so this interview, it's Eden from Old Sovereign, a brilliant man, by the way. That was a great conversation. I was blown away. These interviews are getting better and better. Shout out to Alicia again. And speaking of so the name of it is Sovereign, and it really plays into the fact that these little micro communities that we discussed earlier in the show are just trying to be financially sovereign to some extent on the internet. So it's a play on that. So without further ado, here it is.
Yes, and that the system itself is secured by the Bitcoin network. So it's merge mined by the Bitcoin miners.
Because
So
that's based on like rootstock security being like pegged to Bitcoin.
that's right, yeah.
So what kind of fees are you looking at? Because that's an obvious question as people start using these DeFi platforms. And with the majority of current liquidity and volume being happening on Ethereum right now, fees are an issue. So it's elbowing out a lot of people who'd like to do maybe smaller amounts. What are the fees looking like currently on something like Sovereign?
They're about 1/100th of the fees on Ethereum, and they're going to get lower. So right now, for a typical transaction, you'll be paying between 20 and 60 cents of value. And we expect that to go down to sub 1 cent probably in May when we introduce roll-up technology.
So
I like the confidence
Rootstock-
with that answer.
So Rootstock is implementing rollups. Is that an additional layer 2, or is it built kind of? But yeah, I see.
It's an additional layer 2, yes.
Okay, so it's
So
like doing-
our approach is different from the Ethereum approach. And Ethereum started out, and even today, does almost everything on layer 1. This is extremely inefficient computationally, and as a result, the fees are extremely expensive. And one of the cool things that the Ethereum community has always had is sort of a sense of hyper-inclusivity, right? It's like everyone can be part of it. But in practice, the chain has become hyper-exclusive. Right? Almost no one can use it profitably unless they're like whales, because a transaction with a smart contract can easily cost you north of $200, $300 in fees. Just one transaction.
It gets up there, depending on how complex that transaction is.
That's right.
It
But
comes up really fast.
I'm talking about even some relatively simple transactions which are pretty gas efficient, like a Uniswap transaction can be north of $200. Right, more complex. Deploying a new contract can cost you $15,000, and that's a transaction fee.
Cost me quite a bit just to do a simple swap 2 days ago. Tried to hit it when the gas was low, but yeah, you're right. It's pricey.
Yeah.
We'll go on.
There's no argument here. The current state of Ethereum, the way things are currently operating, it's very expensive to use. Well, like you said, it makes it very exclusive. Because people can't do things other than very large amounts of amount transactions.
That's right. Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way, because there are other things. But it remains to be seen how well those work and where things go in that particular ecosystem. So I'm curious how, like, what is the difference? Like, why is this not going to happen on Rootstock? Like you were trying to get into.
So the reason it's unlikely to happen on Rootstock is because there's almost no activity. So right now we're running on sort of what you could call Rootstock layer 1. But even we're putting together the infrastructure to make sure that we are able to migrate to a layer 2 solution within weeks. Mm-hmm. And so I think that you're never actually going to see the emergence of this idea that you use and deploy the vast majority of transactions and computational complexity on layer 1. So that's one reason. There's a more fundamental reason in that I think one way to think about Rootstock is that Rootstock itself is a rollup. So by merge mining with the Bitcoin miners, right? Bitcoin miners are doing this proof of work anyway, and the Bitcoin sidechain can piggyback off of that. And there's nothing stopping you from having 2 or 3 piggybacks, right? Using exactly the same hash power. And so the sort of sharding that Ethereum talk about looking to achieve with their entire POS sharding mechanism effectively already exists for Bitcoin if you're using sidechains.
I'd have to think about that. Because
and we're back.
Back.
We hope you enjoyed that live interview. Corey and I actually teleported into a parallel dimension for 5 minutes and came back. And that's how we do it now. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I wasn't live.
We'll release the full interview later. That's just like, since we're doing it live, we'd cut a portion of it, a snippet, give ourselves a potty break.
Yeah,
now we're back.
We can come back to giving you guys the juice. So now's a good time. I want to do some things we don't typically do, but now that we're moving a different ratio. So if you're liking this right now, it's live. See a few of you watching. Share it, like it, subscribe it, tell your friends about it, tell your mother and father. We'll try to be PG. No, we won't. We won't. I'm sorry. I even said
very
that.
doubtful.
We say what we won't.
Very doubtful.
Do all the YouTube stuff that people ask. Ding the bell. Like,
do we have to say that every time? I don't want to say that every episode. I really don't want to say that.
I understand how whack it is, Corey.
We're not saying it, Corey.
I do see that history has a.
I don't even want to be a part of something that says it.
I'm gonna own it.
Hey,
I'm gonna
guys.
Own this shit.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna own this shit. If you scan the QR code here, it'll take you to our.
That
YouTube,
would be cool if you can
auto
subscribe off of a QR code.
Make it happen, Captain.
Just
Corey, man, you're the super smart dude. Why can't you be an auto subscription? Like, let's look at the code for the what happened. Let's look in the element for the code.
Dude, I got work to do.
Yeah, this is it, bro.
I got a job.
This is part of it. I'm talking to you, bro.
I got a job.
All right, for real. Like, that's got to be a thing, right? Like a subscribe button. You just push the button somewhere on another. Obviously, it's a thing.
It's YouTube. It's a YouTube thing. I don't think I have it on StreamYard. We'll figure it out later.
Like, I feel like I've been on websites where it's like, push here to subscribe to the video that's right here. So you could do that from someone else's website. Why wouldn't you be able to trigger that push of a button from a QR scan code?
You know what kind of security implications that would have?
I don't. That's why you're the scientist.
Terrible. That's a terrible idea. That's not happening.
Somebody can't scan and subscribe?
They can maybe pop up a modal that asks for it, but no.
We should do the typical growth stuff, man. We gotta get in. We gotta be a part of it. Don't fight it. Join it. Like, we gotta do giveaways. Hey guys, if we get to 5,000 subscribers, we'll be giving away a BMX bike. You know what I'm saying? Like, get to 5,000 subscribers, we're gonna buy you a barbecue pit. We're gonna send it to your crib. We gotta do that kind of stuff. It's just the way it is, Corey. You can't fight it.
No.
History has
shown.
right.
Unboxing videos and tutorials on how to camp certain parts of COD Warzone and coming up soon from the Bitcoin podcast.
That would
Listen up.
actually be exciting to watch.
Listen up, all you ladies in the audience. If we get 1,500 subscribers, Corey will send you a pair of his MeUndies washed.
Ooh. I don't know if used underwear works for
I'm sorry,
the male
I'm sorry,
scene.
Aaron. I'm sorry, Aaron. Yeah, that's for you, and probably maybe dudes. Probably, I mean, just if you want that, you're listening, you want that. If we get 1,500 subscribers,
Dang.
Jesse, like, what kind of giveaway can we do?
I don't know.
We got to get some sponsors to give us stuff that we can give
Yeah,
away.
we need some
Here's a
sponsors.
very reasonable one. If
Mhm.
like, hey, if we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll buy you a bag of Cheetos.
I'm not doing
That-
that,
that did
again.
not
No.
work.
Like,
I don't think.
Okay.
I don't
One
think
of the-
Daniel doesn't want to do that again either.
one lucky listener is gonna get
One
a
lucky
bag of
listener. All right, cool. We can do
Flamin' Hot
that.
Cheetos.
No, it's not. It's one lucky listener is getting 100 bags of flaming hot Cheetos
Whoa.
What? No, we're not trying to.
instead of 100 listeners get one bag. Let's just do the opposite and do one person gets 100 bags this time.
That's actually kind
It's
of
way more. It's way more funny because like I remember. I don't know if I remember if I said this on the show. So for all the patrons, part of the one of the patrons tiers was you get a bag of flaming hot Cheetos because we always joke about it, and we did this and we did it the most inefficient way possible. We shipped them bags of flaming hot Cheetos after we bought them, and each shipment cost around $10. So we spent an exorbitant amount of money shipping people boxes of flaming hot Cheetos because we thought it was funny. When we were doing this, Daniel said $15. So there you go, even more. When we were doing this, the person who was like facilitating the boxing and shipping was like, it'd be a lot cheaper if you just like crushed these up and shipped them. And Daniel said it to us. I'm like, yes, please.
Yes.
Actually, yes, crush them up because it's even more funny if someone receives a completely crushed bag of flaming hot Cheetos.
Yes,
And-
Crypto
which-
has his bag. Yes,
Oh.
Crypto has his
Bring him on the
bag.
show. Look at this. Bring him on the show.
He's here from backstage.
He even has the note on it. Look at that.
Look at that. We do what we say we'll do on our
We
damn
will.
time.
It may take like a year and a half, but we will do it.
We will do it. Oh man, the Cheetos went out. I really love that. If we
Yeah,
get 1,000
recipe.
subscribers,
It has the Bitcoin podcast recipe right there.
I hope what's that recipe?
Cheetos.com/recipes. That's what it says right there.
So here's something I
That's awesome.
will personally finance is if we get 1,000 subscribers, one lucky listener will get 100 bags of Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
100 bags of flaming hot Cheetos are coming your way. I don't know
Oh,
how we're
yeah.
gonna I don't know how we're gonna like figure out who gets it. I'll make sure it's fair. But someone's getting. I hope it's Wayne.
Is it C50? So you can do like 2C Roman numeral Cheetos. You can do something like that.
I'll figure something clever out. But like,
Dude,
I want to see a
really?
box of flaming hot Cheetos that you're never gonna eat in your window.
I have not opened these for a reason.
Why?
Never open those, man. Please
I
open
don't
those.
eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
That's a good reason. That's a good reason to not open
I was
this.
traveling last month, and there was a guy, and this isn't racial. I thought it was D. He had a full body uniform with Flaming Hot Cheetos logo, color, everything.
Yeah, that's actually my cousin. Uh,
So he was in Oklahoma.
Is it Chester Cheeto?
yeah, I got
Okay.
family out in Oaktown.
Okay,
got family
I
out
almost stopped to take a picture with him and just say, "Hey, I need to bug
Were
somebody."
you
else."
carrying your bag with you?
No, I was not.
You're
You're
not
not
a-
travel.
you're
This is not
Did you
travel
stick-
ready because it's not
did
3 ounces.
Did you stick one fist up in the air? Say, like,
I don't know
um,
what that is, but
dude, let's totally do that, man. If we get 1,000 subscribers, one of you subscribers will receive
Were
100.
you-
All right.
you're
Lock it in.
190. You're 190 subscribers now.
Yeah, we're at 190, so that means we got
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It's gonna happen because like it's the same thing as we did with the podcast. We just kept doing it, and the subscriber base just got bigger over time.
yeah.
We're gonna send someone 100 bags of Cheetos, and we're gonna record it.
Yeah, how much money is that? It's like what, 2 times 100?
No, not a lot.
It's like
It's gonna be like $300 bucks.
Insignificant compared to like
Yeah.
a single airdrop. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
This says 529. I
So
don't know if
529 times
That's
100.
list price, maybe.
That's not
Oh
bad.
no,
We could swing that. We just need a big ass box.
It doesn't have to be this big.
no, that's like a direct ship.
can
You
get
could probably
the-
you could probably do
you
it
get the
through some
Costco-
distributor.
Get the Costco 36 bags in a little.
No, we got to do it big.
No,
No,
we're
it's
going
big. It's gonna
We gotta
be
do it.
cumbersome. Like this person isn't gonna be happy about getting it. They're just gonna
Yeah.
get it.
It's like paying your bill in pennies.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, I didn't think those guys were serious. What do I do with all these Cheetos? Recipes. Don't know what to tell you. You better take care of it. All right, now let's get into some there's some newsy bits. Some newsy bits I'd like to kind of speak to.
Oh, hey, Wayne, you
Um,
have the same bottle as I do. Look at that.
I do, but I've got the protector on it.
No.
Oh, that. I thought you were talking
Yeah.
about the
No.
microphone. Yeah.
Same thermos. I like that thermos. It's a good thermos.
I bought a few of these. These are awesome.
They are.
They hold ice for like 2 days or something.
And hot tea for
So-
like 24 hours.
So we need a TBP branded thermos.
Ooh.
We tried the store thing. It didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
I know. I have a number of your things.
You were the number one buyer by far.
I know. I'm the one that bought everything.
Well, I bought what I liked, and I still have it. So
We'll do something with merchandise at some point again, but it probably won't be Shopify.
So I there's some newsy bits that I want to share with you guys that we can run through before we kind of wrap the show. The first thing is Ray Dalio. He's a billionaire. He runs a hedge fund, and he says that there is a good probability that Bitcoin is going to be outlawed by governments around the world.
isn't he the author of Futures? Like
I don't
chicken
know.
nuggets wouldn't be a thing unless it was him who created the futures contract so that farmers could have a consistent price for chicken, because you cannot sell chicken McNuggets if the price of chicken fluctuates week to week or month to month. So he invented futures so that there could be a derivative so that farmers could say, you know what, I'm definitely going to get this price for it. And the buyers could definitely get this price for it. Even if it's produced at like $1, they're still going to pay $2.50 because they said that, but that's better than paying $5 6 months later. So when he says something about long-term financial things, and his articles are great, his videos are great, I usually listen, and I'm glad he's coming around.
Interesting.
He's
Would saying it's going to get banned considered coming around?
outlawed, not banned, outlawed, same thing.
I would
but
say
here's the-
coming around is having it on his radar and actually looking and talking about it.
Yeah,
I would
Warren
say-
Buffett said the same thing, and he was just flat. And Peter Schiff, like a lot of the people who
I don't think you should.
I think
group
traditional
Peter Schiff
investments-
and Ray Dalio together, though.
Definitely not.
no.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're on the same level. I'm just saying that it's in my opinion, it's difficult to take advice. You should definitely adhere to it and understand it, but you have to give it the perspective of they don't understand the technology that well.
But they will.
Hopefully they will, and hopefully they have people telling them information that's useful and correct. More often than not, the people and celebrities and traditional investment people are getting information from bad sources and then building terrible ideas from it. And then they talk about those terrible ideas from a celebrity standpoint. Yeah. They talk about those ideas from a celebrity standpoint, and that has influence, right? But they don't understand it correctly. Like if you look at like what a lot of the earlier stuff that Mark Cuban said, I think, about crypto, it was based on, it was all wrong, because he like the people he was hiring to tell him about it were idiots, probably, or they didn't understand the technology very well,
Or
probably
had
harsh to
vested
say.
interests.
Or had other vested interests because
Like
they wanted
Schiff.
to sell him something.
Yeah, Schiff is, I think, suffering from the vested interest syndrome, where he is super smart and he knows money. He knows a lot of things, but his vested interest blinds him a little. Warren Buffett, definitely. So when he said it was rat poison squared, he was correct. It's rat poison squared for fiat.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that it's rat poison squared for everybody.
I don't track Ray Dalio, like what his investments have been in the past, but what have they been? Point.
So I'm looking at it here. My boy Dalio began investing at age 12 when he bought shares of Northeast Airlines at $300 and tripled his investment This would have been back in 1973.
Is he more of a Buffett investor?
I would say less. I mean, I don't know him intimately, but I do know, like, I categorize Buffett as the traditional investor, like doesn't get into tech quickly. He expects tangible things to return a tangible dividend based on the time that goes or the effort that goes into something and it comes out. So he's very traditional on that end. And I would categorize Dalio as more progressive than that, but still way less progressive for crypto.
Who's the most progressive out of all the billionaire investors right now? Give me like a few.
Elon Musk,
Okay.
if you call him an investor.
Okay.
Because he's so progressive on, having an energy company that happens to make cars, looking at getting off this planet before anybody else did. So many different things that he looks at, and he trolls people about Doge. I think that's a well-rounded humor / investment type of thing. But as far as investors go, if you ever watch Unchained, so Unchained with Laura Shin recently had an episode with the top type of investor people.
How dare you? Just kidding.
Well, you have to fill up all your.
Just kidding.
And so she goes over some of those things, and with 344 episodes so far, you guys have had a few. Investor class people. I would say, I don't know if class is the right word there, but
that sect of perspective.
You want to hear something funny? Is I own some of what this motherfucker. Oh, excuse my language. I own some of what this guy sells. When I was a teacher in Texas, the teacher retirement system invested $250 million in the stake in Bridgewater Associates Intermediate Holdings in 2008. See, that's trippy. That's very trippy that a single hedge fund is owned by an entity as large as the teacher retirement system. And that's why this ETF is going to make us all boat owners, very large boat owners. But
so Jesse, to answer a little bit more about Dalio's, the enamoring that I have with him is that he is a good bridge between layman and how actually things work.
Yeah.
Where a lot, our monetary system is kind of designed to be confusing. The way that we do puts and calls and asks and bids and collateralized debt obligations and all the things that go into it, it is unnecessarily complex. Whereas crypto is necessarily complex because it's a new paradigm. There's things that we just don't have words for, that we just tack on existing words like wallet and keys. And Dalio is really good at bridging the gap between complex financial explanations and letting the layman understand, like Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, like Gary Vee. I mean, they have this bridge. And so Dalio does that with cycles of years and how we have a debt-based economy. And what I like about that is if someone watches Dalio and then starts dabbling in crypto, then the light bulb comes on because it's like, oh, crypto's not debt-based, but could be. And, they can have their own epiphanies on how money works without being exposed to the Berwicks or, what's the guy that does the hidden secrets of money? Starts with an M. Maroney.
Mike Jones?
No.
Who?
There's Mike Jones. So there's the hidden secrets of money. Mike Maloney. He has a series. So if you try to take the Muggle or the GPP and go straight into Berwick or Mike Maloney or even the Bitcoin podcast, it's a bridge too far. And Dalio is like, start there and then come see us when you've got questions about why is our money like this?
He's definitely has some great articles and blogs and writing that helps give like a very large macro perspective of like why things are the way they are.
Yes. And the videos are really good too. He's got like a 20-minute video that just explains debt.
In terms of his comment, right, that he thinks BTC will be outlawed. You have your finger on the pulse of a lot of different media, it seems, and you're able to like internally curate them together. How valid do you think that statement is that he made in terms of his connects with
With the current power base, 95% likely. With the power base changing and more communication so that Gen Z and boomers and all the different generations can be more aware, then I think our structures will change to adopt to a more sovereign type of monetary system. So the old guard and the plutarchs and the people who run the money now, they will not allow something like a borderless, censorship-resistant, open, decentralized currency. But that power structure is changing, and it's probably going to change quicker than the existing system can change to ban what we have. And that's why I have hope.
Yeah. There's fabrics that were like once archetypes. Those things are being eroded. There just are. And so that's why, like Wayne, I have a lot of faith in crypto and Bitcoin, and it won't be banned because it can't be. By the time the government gets their shit in order to try, so many people will have it and use it to add value to their lives that those governments say will be.
I see. I think it's more likely that there'll be the Civil War on the revolution side.
I hope not.
Because you say you can't ban
keep them
it,
things on me.
Yeah.
but you do not have a satellite connection to the internet. The internet is still 99% Verizon, AT&T.
We will soon.
Exodus.
Thanks, Elon.
Starlink.
Well, but the point is, people can block port 8333,
I love
whatever
this guy.
Bitcoin port is.
I love this guy. I'll take him.
The majority of people will just move on to Venmo and PayPal's crypto and, a UBI. The masses are not going to follow the freedom. The masses are going to follow least common denominator, easy path. So I'm counting on the current system being too slow to be able to implement a ban and the power getting up fast enough so that we can change the rules by the time the rules need.
I'm gonna put on my not Negro Domus hat, but like whatever that analogy.
The Filipino version is?
Sure, yeah. And I'm gonna throw out a prediction. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but just random prediction. Bitcoin may get like soft banned, but then may get unsoft banned.
So like a China,
like 19
China's
times
done.
in China,
Like
and India,
like maybe I guess that would be so weak. I want it to be like stronger than that. Like I want it to be like when they repatriated gold from individuals, and then they said that if you didn't give your gold back to us to exchange for dollars, we're going to jail you for 10 years.
Right. That was strong. What India did and a couple different countries, they weren't strong, right? The central bank said it's banned, and then the the legal group behind them a year later or whatever said, oh, no, it's not banned. So it effectively becomes a ban, but it's not really banned. So that was kind of soft.
Yeah, I would be, my prediction would include something a little bit harder than that. I'm curious if something like that could happen.
Well, with 8 ETFs in the wings,
it's probably not going to happen.
This is the year it's probably going to, Fisher.
All signs point to that. Yeah.
You guys think there's going to be a soft ban this year?
No, all signs point to mass adoption this year.
Yeah. ETFs, institutional money. And when institutional money starts throwing their weight, then bans are less likely.
See,
bans are less likely.
This is what I've discussed for years, is that once institutional money like really starts flowing in, then I hate to say this phrase, but it's already in the ether. Too big to fail starts to come into consideration, right? And that's kind of how that 2008 shit was going to be a house of cards, but it was stopped. But like we just said, this company, this random private company, Bridgewater, if it goes under, what's going to happen to the teacher retirement? What happens to the percentage of those teachers' retirements if that company goes under, right? And so then when institutions start to flow into assets like this, there's protections involved. There's risk there's like risk that's just absolved, because there's a lot of people's lives that are affected by this institutional money flowing in, a lot. So if Fidelity gets an ETF, Goldman Sachs, they get these ETFs and they start rolling. It's a wrap. It's game over. Mass adoption is there. And it's like we said many times in the past, people will be using it without they know they're using it. Teachers in Texas don't fucking know they're buying Bridgewater. They don't know. They're just like, yeah, I get teachers retirement. That's what I get. When I retire, it's what I get. They don't know that. And that's the same exact thing that's going to happen with crypto and its financial products and its robustness over the next 20 years is more and more people are going to have their lives touched by crypto, not in an R. Kelly way, but in like a more friendly way.
Well played.
And
I want to piss on you.
That's for those of you that don't know, that's a skit. Corey doesn't
Dave Chappelle.
He doesn't just say things.
I don't just say those words out loud for no reason.
That's a Dave Chappelle skit. All right. He doesn't just claim he wants to urinate on people.
We should rap. We should rap on that. I'm gonna go take care of my baby.
We're gonna go
cook some dinner.
Ooh, I'm gonna tell Aaron you talk about her on the show.
Ooh, boo.
So if you like this show, please become a patron.
Speaking of taking care of your baby, be a Patreon.
Yeah,
that's us. We're your baby.
We got a hype man Wayne here to help us out.
That's right. Let's see here. Become a patron. I like how I'm looking at it. Become a patron. Join the Slack. You can join and subscribe to us on your Apple podcasting app. That's what that icon means. But to join the Slack, you go to the Bitcoin podcast. Jesse, you've got to point at it too. It's like a
okay.
Voltron thing.
Sorry.
It's like a Voltron thing.
There you go. Wow, it's like a Brady Bunch.
Where's
thing.
my hand? There we go.
There's a story about an Egodamus.
Let's see. Go to the bitcoinpodcast.com and join the Slack. I love that now we could say there's a better reason to join the Slack than to just hang out with us. The ecosystem has gotten so robust. If you join our Slack, given how networked we are, because we've been passionate about this stuff for years now, you could likely find a job in crypto. If you've got a mountain of skills and you think they're transferable to an industry that is just starting up, you should join our Slack and we will help point you in the right direction and have the right conversations that you could eventually change your career. And you know why you want to change your career? Because your job sucks.
Your job suck.
Does your job suck? Are you working in a job that sucks balls? Does your job suck and ergo your life? Do you want to change that because your life is sucking? Join the TBP Slack. Get a better job.
Oh, God.
That's the best shit ever. You heard it. Oh, my God. That's so good. We got to end the show on that. Let's do the shout outs. Shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Shout out to Michael B. Jordan, Lori Harvey. Shout out to who's old wide face? Zoe Saldana.
You gotta flip that picture, or just keep it. I don't know.
Old wide face up there, Zoe. Shout out to Mrs. Barack Obama. I'm sorry, that's not 21st century. Michelle Obama. Sorry, ma'am. And shout out to that chick from Black Panther.
You don't know her name.
It's very African.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I cannot say that name. It starts with an N. Well, that's bad because my sister-in-law's name starts with an N and I could say that. But hers, I can't. So.
Well, you've also heard your sister-in-law say her name, so it helps a little bit.
Yeah. I've heard her speak in the clicking language before, and it just blew my world away.
Yeah, I've heard that too. It's pretty interesting. It's wild.
I was like, he's just gonna sit here and eat this omelet and talk in clicks. That shit is dope. Anyways, yeah, we are on Patreon, Lansing West. Hold up, this is something we got to put up there. Y'all on Patreon? Yes, we are. And you
hit
can
him with the link.
Patreon.
Hit him with the link.
And if you share the show and we get more subscribers, you'll have a 1 in 1,000 chance of getting 100 bags of Flamin' Hot Cheetos. There's all kinds of incentives to joining us. Get a fucking job, get some Cheetos.
I recuse myself from winning that. Let's say that.
Yeah, so you get a
That'd be
1 in
funny, though.
999 chance.
No, no, no.
1 in
You should have all the tiers qualify, but the top tier is immune.
Gets more entries.
No, is immune.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the only
Oh,
way to be
yeah.
immune from winning the deal.
Wayne is the top tier. So there you go.
All right. It's been a great show. Thank you all. A shout out to the audience, of course. Thank you guys who are core listeners for continuously listening week in, week out. Shout out to Jeff. Sorry about last week. We're coming at you strong this week. Let's see what else.
Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to
Shout
Daniel.
out to Alicia. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to all us hosts here on Virtual Hug. And shout out to Spring. Shout out to Moderna. Shout out to Pfizer. Shout out to Johnson and
Shout
Johnson.
out to Cheetos.
Shout
Blame
out
it
to
on Cheetos.
Cheetos. All right, guys, play the outro.